Sometimes at the poker table, you're gonna make the second nuts and run into the nuts. It happens. But have you ever seen a scenario where 4 players see the flop and they somehow all make the effective nuts? Well, you're about to see it today. Let's get right to it.
From the nuts to the tanks for Brad. 3 bets, 1,500.
Squeeze their asses.
4 ways to a flop.
We are playing 50, 100, 200 at the Lodge in this hand. T1000 raises it up from under the gun +1 with King 6 of Hearts, which is a little loose but probably fine. Brad Owen makes it 1,500 with pocket 10s. Goofy on the button with Queen 9 of Clubs decides to call. Brown Balla in the straddle calls with Ace 10 of Hearts, and then T1000 calls, closing the action. Let's see what kind of cooler we get.
And there is the set. The case 10 for Brad, 2 pair for Goofy, and the flush draw for both T1000 and Brown Balla. The dream flop for action.
The flop comes Queen of Hearts, 10 of Spades, 9 of Hearts. Brown Balla has middle pair and the nut flush draw. T1000 has the second nut flush draw and a gut shot and an overcard. Brad has middle set and Goofy has top and bottom pair. They all have pretty much the effective nuts. You may say king high flush draw is not the effective nuts. Well, with an overcard and a gut shot it is. All right, Brown Balla and T1000 both check. Brad, the pre-flop 3-better, should definitely bet. This is a board where often you want to bet using a smaller size than a multi-way pot because someone could easily be sitting here with King Jack or Jack 8 suited. That said, in a live cash game, I definitely like sizing it up on boards where your opponents just aren't going to fold stuff like top pair, and that is what Brad does. He goes for 4,000 into the roughly 6,000 pot. Now, Goofy on the button with 25,000 has a pretty tough scenario because a lot of turns are going to be quite bad for his exact hand. And for that reason, he has a hand kind of like pocket kings or ace queen in this scenario that's very likely good at the moment, but if you see the turn in the river, especially against a lot of opponents, it's pretty likely to get beat. So for that reason, I think Goofy should actually rip it all in. It's not going to work out for him because he has a whopping 10% equity, but this is a spot where I do think all in is going to be the best play for Goofy, even though it's not going to work out this time. He calls, though. Let's see what the 2 flush draws do.
Brad not slow playing anything on a board this wet. Multi-way. Bets 4K, and it looks like it's getting called by everybody. T1000 looking at everybody's stacks, perhaps contemplating a move here with the combo. Alex on flatting.
They have the same hand.
Both flush draws opt to just call. You may say, isn't that a little bit weak and passive? And I don't think it is. This is a scenario where if you face a bet and a call on the flop, you can be pretty sure someone has something pretty decent. And if you do end up getting it in with, let's say, the King 6 of Hearts on the flop, you're very likely to be behind. And sometimes you're going to be crushed by the ace-high flush draw. I do think Brown Balla could have conceivably raised with the idea that he's going to be getting it in against some worse flush draws, but also some hands like top pair or pocket jacks that he's doing fine against. But even then, he doesn't really love it in this situation. So for that reason, I think calling is perfectly fine, because if he calls, he knows he's putting in roughly a third of the money that's going in immediately, and he's going to win something like 40-ish% of the time, and he's probably not folding on a whole lot of turns. So I think this is what we can call the idea that he's going to be pretty happy just getting a lot of money in on the turn a large chunk of the time. Once Brown Balla calls, I think T1000 has to call. Yeah, he's going to be absolutely crushed sometimes, but not too often. This time he is, though. Let's go to the turn.
4 ways to a turn card. And the flush comes in.
Maybe not now.
Not the card that Brad wanted to see. Losing now to the straights, the flushes, and the action on T1000.
Wow.
Who thinks he just got there,
Flush over flush.
but he's drawing dead.
Wow. Looks like 16,000 is the bet.
Quick fold from Brad with the 10s. Goofy's gone with his 2 pair, and Brown Balla sitting on the nuts.
The turn is a wild card, the Jack of Hearts. It's maybe going to let Brad and Goofy get completely off the hook. It's always nice when you get cooler and find a way to get out of the way. Brown Balla checks, and you may say, should he check with the nut flush? Because he wants to get money in, and it's very likely to check through. And I think the answer is just yes. I think it's kind of likely one of the 3 players decides to bet on the turn, perhaps with a straight or just a king of hearts, right, for a straight plus king high redraw. So I love checking in this spot from Brown Balla. T1000 opts to bet. Pot's 22,000. He goes 16, which is a bet designed to try to price out these sets and 2 pairs. Now, you may say, do you really want to price them out? And the answer is yes, if they will check it through. And if you consider what Brad and Goofy are very likely to do with a set or 2 pair, it is to simply check and try to improve on the river. So, while you would not lead very often when you turn a flush like this in a heads-up pot, in a very multi-way pot, you're going to find that leading, especially with hands that are almost always good but vulnerable to being outdrawn, like second nut flush, because it's very easy for someone to have the ace of hearts or a set or 2 pair, this is a very, very good spot to put in a bet. And he goes for 16,000 out of his 34,000 stack, which I think is quite reasonable. Brad is forced to fold. Goofy is forced to fold too. Let's see how Brown Balla proceeds with the nuts.
Stuffs it.
Call.
Makes the call.
Run it once.
I'd
Let's go
pocket
once.
10.
Go, go, go.
Huge pot.
No, yeah, I can't win.
No, it's not.
Brown Balla correctly shoves all in this situation because he knows he's going to stack a flush every time. And if he is against a set somehow, which I don't think he ever is, but if he is against a set somehow, that's enough to call it off too. He, of course, gets called by the king high flush, and he wins a massive pot. Before we wrap it up today, though, I want to know, what is the biggest cooler you have ever seen at the poker table? Take a second, think about it. Write it in the comment section down below. Click the like and subscribe button while you're down there, and I'll be back to tell you about a wild hand that I played in a $25,000 buy-in tournament where they tried to set me up hard. Wow.
Big pot for Brown Balla as T1000 drawing dead. Doesn't matter how many times we run it. One time it is Brown Balla 90K on the ace-10 of hearts.
Many, many years ago in a $25,000 buy-in tournament at Bellagio, I had pocket aces under the gun, 250 big blinds deep, and I raised very early in the tournament. 4 people called. Fine. The flop comes Jack 9-7 with a flush draw. I don't have the flush draw. The blinds check. I do not continuation bet with 2 players yet to act. You may say, why not continuation bet? You have aces. Aren't you scared of getting outdrawn? I mean, yeah, but the thing is that when you are playing deep stacked multi-way, you have to be very careful on boards that should connect quite well with your opponent's ranges. And I think all the opponents are going to have pocket 9s and pocket 7s in their range a large chunk of the time, as well as Jack 9. maybe the 10-8 for the straight already, and lots of flush draws, which I don't really want to play a big pot against. So I checked the pocket aces. Then the next player bet, the next player raised, the next player re-raised, and then the next player re-raised. I'm like, okay, I fold the aces clearly. So I was in last place. Spoiler alert. I was against 3 sets and the 10-8. Bottom set didn't get the memo. And then the middle set didn't get the memo. Top set also didn't get the memo. They got it all in, and the 10-8 of the big blind scooped a massive pot. Wild. Whenever you get coolered, and there are a lot of people in the pot trying to load in money, be cautious because someone probably has the nuts. If it isn't you, you could very easily be in trouble. Talk to you next time.